Hey guys, have you ever had the front brakes on your Harley Davidson ever feel super spongy to the point where you don't know if they're going to work and it feels unsafe? Well, this 2002 Harley Davidson Road King that we have here has that problem right now. So what I'm going to do in this video is we're going to take the front master cylinder off of it, we're going to inspect it, clean all the lines, and if need be, I picked up another one off of Facebook Marketplace. It's designed and built for a later model, but it has the capacity to run a dual master cylinder. I'm suspecting this has a single master or single caliper master cylinder on it, and that's why we can't build the proper pressure. So we're going to dive into that here for this video, and I just want to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Billy Tate, and I'm making these videos because I'm in the middle of day 13, which I think is appropriate for motorcycles, lucky 13, of a 30-day challenge for me to get out from behind the camera and get in front of the camera, talking to this camera and building a community with you where we can learn about these different things, and I can share my knowledge of working on motorcycles and bikes for over 40-some years. I got my first motorcycle when I was 7, so that's got to be close to 40, 50 years. So we're going to dive into that, and I thought that would be a great topic to go ahead and start today and bring day number 13 to you guys. So let's go ahead and start pulling this thing apart, and then we will see if it works. All right, stand by. Here we go. All right, guys, before we get started, I'm going to grab this DJI Action, and we're going to go over here and take a look at the bench, and I'm going to show you some of the tools that we're going to need to be able to take this master cylinder off and do it in the correct way. It has some very special and specific bolts and fasteners on this thing that we want to make sure we don't strip. And I'm going to show you exactly why we want to use the right tools, because this one has a couple of different stripped out bolts in it, and we're going to have to adapt and improvise. I don't have the right parts in stock right now in order to be able to replace them and fix them the right way. But listen, guys, there's always a way. If you have it, that's why investing in tools is always such a great idea, because you can have different tools that you can adapt and overcome any problems that come your way. Half of mechanics is adapting and overcoming problems that you have. So let me grab this DJI Action, and we're going to get over here to the bench, and we're going to take a look at the tools, and then we'll start taking this thing all apart. All right, stand by. All right, over here on the bench, guys, I've got some tools laid out that we're going to use to work on this bike and get this master cylinder taken off. And then we're going to also bleed the front brake lines, and we're going to bleed them at the caliper. So I want to go over some of these tools. What I have here is I have just a regular Phillips head and a flat edge screwdriver. I have a T25 and a T28 star bit. If you take a look at that, that's what we're going to need in order to take the perch off of the handlebar to get the front master cylinder off. I have a pair of vice grips. Guys, this is one of those things that I was talking about, that when you have stripped out bolts and you have to adapt and overcome, this is one of the most handy tools you can have. Matter of fact, Derek's got an entire channel over at Vice Grip Garage, which talks and it puts that into practice. So the vice grip is an invaluable tool. You should have 2 or 3 different sizes. We have a 1/4-inch ratchet with a 3/8 deep well socket. We also have a 3/8, this is a special, if you look in there, that's got kind of a unique pattern inside there. And we're going to use that to take off the banjo bolts of the calipers and at the master cylinder. And then I just have a 3/8 open-end wrench and then some rags. And I'm going to have a little catch can that we're going to be able to catch the fluid as we clean all this stuff out. Also going to be using some brake cleaner and some DOT4 fluid. So guys, we're going to get back up top. I'm going to put this camera back up there, and we're going to get into taking this thing apart. Here we go. All right, guys, here we are over at the bike. It's up on the lift, and first step that we're going to do is we're going to take this windshield off. This is a quick release windshield. It's very, very easy. These are great because you can swap them between different bikes. I know Sam's got a 23 Road King, and this is a 2002, and we can swap the windshields back and forth, so that's really great. So our first step is going to be to take this thing off. Just kind of pulls off, gets out of the way. So set that thing down over there. All right, so our first step here is going to be taking this master cylinder off of this bike. Now this thing has got fluid in it. It's got the hard line that goes all the way down to the soft line and goes and branches off between the 2 calipers. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to vacuum all this stuff out of there. I need to go grab the vacuum pump, and we're going to take the fluid that's in here out. So give me just 1 second, we'll grab that. All right, so we're back. All right, guys, so this right here is a hand-operated vacuum pump that I'm going to go ahead and use to pull the fluid out of this. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get ourselves a couple of old towels on here because we don't want to get this fluid on anything. And we're going to take our Phillips head screwdriver right here, and I got to get on my tippy toes, and we're going to take these 2 Phillips head screws out of the top of this master cylinder. We're going to suck all the fluid out of this thing, that way it just doesn't leak all over the place. Be real careful when you pull this thing off, guys. There's going to be a little bit of fluid, and there's a rubber gasket that goes inside there that just makes the seal so that the fluid doesn't leak over. Oh, this thing's plumb full to the top. All right, let's pull that off. Get another towel over there. All right, that's great. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this vacuum pump and I'm going to just stick that down inside there like that, and we're going to start sucking all the fluid out. All right, guys, what our first step here is going to be is we're going to take this master cylinder off of there. I've already drained it out, as you saw in the other video, and now we're going to start to unbolt this and take it off of the brake line, get it over on the bench so that we can inspect it, make sure everything's good, and then get in a process of actually replacing it. So I think what our first step is, we're going to find a 3/8 wrench. We're going to go ahead and take that line off, whatever I did with the 3/8, and it's not out. So let's go back to the bench here. All right, we're going to take our 3/8 and I'm going to break this brake line free. Bad boy was on there nice and tight. That's good. Oh, we're running out of camera battery here. So my first step is to take this bolt out all the way. We got that. Now I had a little bit of spillage, so we're going to catch that with our rag here. Okay. Now guys, be real careful in here. There's a couple of different little washers that have a rubber coating on them. These ones, I've already rebuilt this master cylinder once, so I already know it's bad. So these are we're gonna reuse these, but you should replace them every time you take that off there. All right, guys, our first step is gonna be able to take this entire master cylinder off of the handlebars so that we can disassemble it and take a look at what's wrong with it and also replace it if we need be. So we're gonna take our T27 here, and these are gonna be in there pretty tight. Make sure that we have this set to loosen, and then we're just gonna break this loose. Okay, break them both loose so that you got it nice and even. Get that in there the right way. All right, it's looking good. So I'm going to take that and switch over to the hand tool. All right, there we go. I'm going to start backing this off. Getting this T27 out of here. Well, that bad boy is in there pretty good. I must have a little bit of Loctite on it. Yep. All right. Now, because I have that disconnected from the brake line, we're just going to take it easy here and taking the second part off of this. All right. Now, that's going to rest there just for a second. We'll set this over there. Get ourselves a place to work here. All right, guys, so we should be able to just pull this whole mechanism. Oh, be careful not to spill the fluid that's inside there. Now that we got this thing off of here, let's take it down over to the bench. I'll bring you over there and we'll start breaking this thing down, taking the parts off we need to swap onto the new one. All right, I'll see you guys over there. All right, guys, so we're over here on the bench. We got this master cylinder off here. it's a little bit saucy with a bunch of brake fluid and all that. It's going to make it kind of difficult to work on. So I'm going to put a towel down here, and I'm just going to spray off a little bit of brake cleaner, some of that excess brake fluid and all that was on there. This isn't going back on there, so we'll forgive my liberal use of brake fluid on that, or brake cleaner on that thing. I want to make sure you're careful spraying that stuff on surfaces. Painted surfaces would be a real problem. This is powder coated, so it's not really going to be that big of a problem. All right, so let's go ahead and start and get this mirror off of this thing. Of course, 3/8 isn't going to work, so I'm going to go grab a 1/2 inch out of the drawer here. All right, so we'll start knocking this thing off here. I'm going to reuse this mirror. That'll be fine. There's 3 washes on this, one on the base, a flat washer, and then another one on there. Probably don't need the 3rd one, but it's got it on there, so we're going to leave it. All right, we'll go ahead and put that mirror there. Now, we're going to reuse this, because if we look at the master cylinder that I got here, it's got a polished aluminum lever, and I want to stay with the black. So this has got a little tiny circlip inside there, and if you guys have a circlip pair of pliers that work on that, drop me a comment down below and let me know what it is. I can't seem to find it, so I'm going to go ahead and just use a pick, and very carefully, without slinging this thing around the room. That's the thing you got to worry about. These things go and they're across the room before you know it. So, all right, that's starting to come off there. Nice and easy. Now you notice, you probably can't see it, but this thing's a little bit of oblong now, so I'm just going to go ahead and straighten it up, keep my little circlip there. This pin is going to pop out right through there like that. I might need to wrestle that around a little bit. We used a pick to push it through. There we go. All right, so and there's usually a plastic bushing that goes inside there, and that's been missing on this one, so we're gonna rob that from the other one. They're interchangeable, and we'll be able to have that. So now we got that thing taken apart. Let's go ahead and take our screwdriver here and pull this cap off this. We'll spray a little brake cleaner inside that reservoir and see if we can't determine what's wrong with this thing. I have a sneaking suspicion that it's for a single cylinder or single caliper brake system, and I've got it on a double. So, you know, it was on there when I purchased the bike, so Lord knows what they actually did, because this bike was purple. It had a lot of chrome on it. I think they probably put some of this stuff on there. So somebody might have unknowingly put a single caliper master cylinder. Once again, I'm going to put my rag. I'm just going to go down here and spray some of this stuff out, get that rubber gasket done. Okay. This deal here still got a little bit of fluid in it. So I'm going to just pour that into this little, we're going to use this bottle for bleeding later, so we'll just put that in there for now. I'm going to spray all this stuff out. And here's the deal, guys. I'm doing this because I don't want all this fluid and all that to corrode and just gel up and turn into white crusties inside there when I store this thing. I don't know if I'm either going to sell it or I'm going to get rid of it. Now, guys, I'm not going to pull this thing all the way apart. I just kind of wanted to tell you like the way that I store one of these. And the reason I'm not going to do that, because I've already replaced the piston, put a new piston and seal kit in it, honed this master cylinder, and it had the same exact problem. So that led me to believing that that was for a single caliper master cylinder. And you can just see that this one's a little bit bigger and different shape and design. I'm positive that this one's going to be for a dual, so we're just going to go ahead and swap these out. So let me get the mirror transfer. We'll put the mirror on it back there, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart, take a look inside of it real quick, make sure that it's clean, swap out that lever, and then we'll get to putting this thing back together. .4 fluid. That's what this is calling for. All right, let's pull this cap off. Ooh, see, she's already got fluid already in there, so we're going to go ahead and get that out of it. It's kind of crusty and old looking too. Let's go ahead and just pour this right into there. All right, let's get our brake cleaner here. We'll spray all that down. All right, guys, let's take a look at this deal and see what's a little bit different. All right, she looks nice and clean. All right, so I think that that's going to work just fine. But the one thing that we are going to do, we're going to go ahead and spray that. Get that nice and clean, set that down to dry while we take the lever off of this thing. Got this floor a little bit shiny, slippery. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and pull this snap ring right off of this deal. There we go. Go ahead and give that a little clean. Make sure we're good. So that's even a different size. Boy, I don't even know if that pin's going to work with that. We might be in trouble, guys. These pins are two different sizes. All right, so let's just take a look. The good news is I think those are the same size. The bushing. Okay, let's just take a look at this, clean this up real quick. Don't know, I think these are different sizes. They are. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's a completely different style of plunger. All right, guys, we're not going to be able to swap those out. We're going to have to go back with this pin. I'm going to have to order a different lever for that, if it's even going to work at all, guys. Let's just pull this back around there without patrolling it around the room. It's in the slot. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull these off. All right, so we're going to move you guys back over to the bike, and then we're going to start installing this new master cylinder from there. Let's go do that. Guys, let's put this thing back on here. Well, that's going to work. That's good. Oop. Be real careful with this stuff. We don't want to scratch anything. carefuler than I was right there. All right, so we got our top screw in. Got our bottom screw in. This can only go one way, guys, so it's gonna line up with the pin that's inside there and just put itself in the right position. So we're just gonna run these down till they're snug, and we'll come back in and tighten those up. Once again, just snugging it down. All right, so we got our banjo bolt that we took off. Whoop, dropped the gasket. And there it is. Dropped our washer and gasket. So there's one that's on there. We'll go ahead and get that one on there. Shoot. These can be finicky, especially with these hard lines, guys, so you just gotta kind of take your time. Get these things lined up, manipulate your lines in any way that you need to. And be kind of careful, guys, because those are aluminum threads in there, so you want to make sure that you get that lined up in the right way. All right, so we got that dialed in there. Start running this down to where it needs to go. All right, so that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna get our 3/8 ratchet here. Make sure that we're in tightening mode. Run these down. And I like to run these down even, guys. That way it just, you know, you're not putting too much stress on the threads. And these guys, you don't have to crank these down just until they stop. You don't gotta go put a ton of torque on those, because here's the deal. It's aluminum threads. So you don't want to crank that down too much. Oh, great. And that's freaking strict. All right, guys, we're gonna go back up to the top camera. As you can probably see, when I went to go thread this thing in here, the threads for the banjo bolt are stripped in the master cylinder. And we're gonna go ahead and talk about that up top, and what the risks are, and what we're gonna do next. And I think that gives you a good idea of what really happened. So let's go back up top and let's go talk about it. Well, there you have it, guys. You know, I want to be as real and authentic in these videos as I can be. I had these great ideas. I spent way too much time trying to clean up the shop, trying to make it look good in here, and had this bike in here, and I went down to Facebook Marketplace, and I'd already purchased this master cylinder from a guy here in town, and I knew that the master cylinder that was on this was bad, and I'd already taken it apart, bought a rebuild kit, honed out the master cylinder, and still got it to, I still couldn't get it to bleed out quite properly. It still felt super spongy, and I suspect that they swapped out the controls on this bike with the black controls on it, and they just put a single cylinder, or a single caliper master cylinder on this, and so it just wasn't creating enough pressure to run the duals that are on this bike. And as you can see, when I went to go put the master cylinder back on and put the banjo bolt back in, the threads in the aluminum casting of the not casting, but the aluminum machine master cylinder were stripped out. So no matter what we're going to do there, we're never going to get that to cinch down and tighten up and be able to make a good seal. But the good news is I'm going to go ahead and order another master cylinder for this bike, get the proper one for a dual cylinder, and I'll probably end up getting a new one or some type of an aftermarket one, or I'll at least make sure that the threads are good on this one before I put it in. But guys, this is what happens, and this is, once again, not even so much about the content. I'm in the middle of a 30-day challenge to get in front of the camera every single day and just make content and build a relationship with you. Maybe this is what the luck is for Lucky 13, and that's what I kind of get for trying to work on a motorcycle on the 13th episode. But guys, listen, I'm going to get out of here, get inside, and I'm going to go order some parts to get this thing fixed the proper way. We will make another video of this and finish it up. Leave me some comments down below and let me know what kind of challenges and frustrations that you are faced with when you work mechanically on type of stuff. Do you love it and thrive to solve those kind of problems? Or do they frustrate you and you just say, I'm just going to take it to the mechanic? I know I get frustrated. I had to go inside and ask my wife to pray for me and say, hey, you know, I can't even finish this video. But you know what, guys? I am going to finish the video. I think it's fair to you guys to be able to see the pitfalls, not only the successes, but the failures. And that is good content also to go ahead and bring to you for this 30-day challenge. It gets me more time out here in front of the camera and practicing and getting better. So guys, listen, I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys. The viewer count's going up. You guys are leaving comments. I'm enjoying interacting with you. So keep doing that. Give me a like and a subscribe. We got a whole series down here where you can watch all the other episodes. There's 12 more episodes of this 30-day series, and we're going to be back here again tomorrow for day 14. So guys, have a fantastic day, and God bless.